We're in the middle of everything. They're carrying a child. Look at this. They're carrying a child. Look at this. This is horrible.
Ustedes tienen familia, somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes. Somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes.
Discúlpeme, oficial. They have encapsulated them. They're pushing. Now they're pushing. Some of them, they're escaping underneath to the ranches. Look at this, man. They're throwing rocks. They're hitting the National Guard officers. Throwing rocks over here.
Gosh, what a scene to see really unfolding here, and having them use that rope so that they're all able to stay together is really interesting to see all this happen, Oscar.
Is number 4 in the world for violence and homicides. Due to this factor, the military will be moved to Tijuana. Entry of San Isidro next door to the city of Tijuana, Mexico. But migrants looking for asylum from Ukraine arrived to the
Roto, señores, las barreras. Ya no los pueden controlar. They have broke the barriers. They cannot control them.
Thank you so much for joining in. How's everybody doing? And God bless everybody that is watching. I'm Oscar Blue for Border War News, correspondent for Real America's Border News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network and different networks. Break news. And so there's comments right here saying that I'm not going to put attention to comments. I will put attention to comments later in the afternoon. I will get right into the news. God bless everybody that is watching. Breaking news for every single one of you. Another caravan has left the south border of Tapachula. There has been other 2 caravans that they have left in the past weeks. I have been reporting on it also. There was a first one that left around the quantity of 2,000, and then another one that left around the quantity of 3,000. All of them caravans were processed at the Institute of Immigration of Wixla. You guys remember not too long ago, 3 weeks ago, I was in the, or more than 3 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, I was in the largest caravan that has ever come out of Tapachula, that it was 15,000. And they have, there was a huge amount of people that they walked 65 kilometers. We walked 65 kilometers with the caravan. So they arrived to this immigration center in Wixla, which they process all the practically they process all their immigration paperwork. That is a strategy that it has been using. And today, this migrant caravan of 4,000 has left today the south border of Tapachula with the intention and also to achieve this format of immigration, multiple format of immigration, which means this multiple format of immigration, it is a document that I have shown before, that ultimately this document, what it does, it gives them the ability to walk freely without being interrupted into the north borders of our country of Mexico. This is a permit that it is giving to them by the government of Mexico for 30 days. After they're giving them this permit, they can walk freely all the way to the north borders that connect to the United States of America. Another caravan has left. The majority of these people are people from Venezuela, and also ultimately not only people from Venezuela, but also people from Central America. But the majority of them are people from Venezuela. The speculation, it is humongous. I am going to talk about that, speculation of why these caravans are coming, specifically on an exodus from Venezuela. But this is another one that just left today for people that they are for people that they are watching. The Mexican authorities are going to give them documents because it's a process that it's in Mexico. But until the number one, that is the guilty part right here, the number one, it is Joseph Biden, the one that has incentivized this open migration to continue. And this incentivization by him, it is not only affecting, and it is not only, as a massive influx coming into the south border of Mexico, but ultimately also through Central America and also South America. So this huge incentivization has crossed borders, and now the last door for solution, it is Mexico, for them to contain or for not to contain. And what Mexico has been doing is said, you know what, we cannot contain this anymore. It is too many people. It is too much people. Andrés Manuel López Obrador has tried to talk to the president. The Mexican president has tried to talk to the president of the United States of America, but ultimately Joseph Biden has denied access, has denied communication, and has not come into an agreement with the government of Mexico, so they will come to a solution for the migrants to not walk so many kilometers, so many miles, risking their lives and also risking, the children, and ultimately, basically, that is, the term, the immediate term to try to find a solution to this. Now, the most stupidest solution will be, and it will be to just completely, be oblivious to this constant, constant migration. That will be, the most, stupid solution. Do not be oblivious to this. To say, like the press secretary Jean Pierre, who said the other day on a phone interview that the border was closed in the south border of the United States of America. It is so upsetting and disturbing that the press secretary for the White House goes on the record and says that the south border of the United States of America, it is closed, when you have a mass migration coming in also from Mexico, going all the way to the United States of America. This is a solution that it needs to be brought. I have talked about this since I started broadcasting. I said about, and I talked about immigration reform. Since I said about immigration reform, they will, we talked about this, and this is not the responsibility of Mexico. Whoever thinks that this is the responsibility of Mexico, complete responsibility of Mexico, it is a complete incompetent and ignorant individual. This is part of Mexico is complicit. Yes, it is complicit, but it does not even matter if they give them documents or not. If you have a secure border in the United States of America, and also if you stop incentivizing people and you start giving them access into the United States of America, holy cow, who is the number one provider and who is the number one incentivizer? This is not the responsibility of Mexico, and Mexico shouldn't be doing the dirty work for the United States government. I'm sorry. This is the way it is. And because the United States is overwhelmed right now at the borders, it is overwhelmed, does not know what to do. The United States government right now, it is absolutely Alejandro Mayorkas and the Department of Homeland Security is a complete disaster. All the people that they know about the borders, they know, even Steve Bannon has said so. These policies of Joe Biden are going to destroy other countries, other borders. and it is basically, it is overwhelming every border, and it is a non-ending effect. This is a massive exodus from Venezuela due to communist dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro. And you have people in the United States that they think about communist solutions in their country, and you have a massive exodus coming in from the south border and from the central and South American countries that they are located, particularly in Venezuela. And also you got a lot of Cuban people that they're coming in because of the dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro, of Díaz-Canel, and also of Ortega in Nicaragua. So there's a lack of solutions in these third world class countries, and that is why you have this massive influx, this massive influx that is coming in, that is coming in into the borders. And it's really disrupted, and it is really it's really basically, it is really concerning that there's a lot of children also sometimes involved in caravans, but the majority of these caravans, the majority are men. So it is concerning to this factor that who is pushing this mass migration from the parts of the country of Venezuela all the way to the countries of Mexico, and ultimately all the way into the United States of America. And it brings that to attention to try to understand why these geographics are being managed, and why there is a lot of men, military age men, that they're coming in into every border, into not only the border of Mexico, but also the border of every border in Central and South America. And this is basically going to be one of the things that is going to be concerning for every country as mass migrations are continue to happen. For everybody that is watching, breaking news: another caravan has left the south border of Mexico. Again, the lack of the poverty, the corruption, the lack of just basically transparency in these third world class countries have made these people run out of an exodus. But this, as I have said this before, as I was standing in front of the mass caravan last time of the 15,000 caravan, standing there, and I was saying, like, when is this going to be controlled? When is this going to be addressed? When are the leaders of the world, the leaders of the first class world countries, are going to enter and fix this, and try to help to fix their countries? This is the situation that it needs to be addressed, and leaders of the third world, leaders of the first world class countries need to enter now and provide an immediate solution. Immigration reform in some countries needs to happen. Ultimately, also the security in their countries needs to be addressed. Insecurity issues, economical issues, also health issues, also the future of some of the children. It is also another issue. It is a lot of issues in these third world class countries that everybody's turning the cheek and not resolving. And ultimately, it is not going to be this the solution. It is not going to be, and I will say this, the solution, it is not going to be turning the cheek and not finding it. And also, the solution is not to put people walk through kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. So thank you so much for joining in. How's everybody doing now? There's another video right here, which I am going to put, and it is extremely important for us to get the perception of what migrants think of the risk that they're taking. And also, right now that the catastrophe and a tragedy has happened, that not only more than 53 migrants has lost their lives in the back of a tractor trailer in the part of San Antonio, Texas, in Quintana Road, where more than 27 Mexicans lost their lives suffocating in the back of a tractor trailer. After this, you get to understand, and you get to wonder, have these migrants all these migrants, do they know about the risk that they're taking? Do they know about this? And believe me, people, as I have shown you guys before, the risk that they take crossing the Darien Gap, it is horrible. It is a horrible nightmare as they are crossing the Darien Gap. It is just horrible. And this is just incentivized by a North American government that, you know, it is ultimately not only damaging the every pathway and every process of every country, but it's also putting people at risk. That is the most, you know, that is the most important thing, that a lot of people are losing their lives because of this. And you have another caravan leaving. Missy and Anonymous, thank you for supporting with coffees. Buy me a coffee. It's on the bottom link if you guys like to contribute to our independent reporting and travel fund. So this is the video. I will let the video roll with audio so you guys can hear it and you guys can basically get a glimpse of this video with audio. This is the video with audio.
No me va a volver a pasar lo mismo otra vez. En lugar que vayan allá a pasar para acá, güey. Eso es el sábado, Juan. Mira, mira. No.
Now, before I move forward with the interview, and I want to state this, what is the whole strategy? The whole strategy is to go to this immigration center that is called Wixla. After they arrive there, they will, the authorities of Mexico, let's see if they're going to provide them with the multiple migration form. If they get the multiple migration form, immediately they will address this form. The migrants will get this form, and and ultimately from that they will get this permit to walk freely for 30 days. As they are going to be provided to walk freely for 30 days, again, the north borders are going to be having a so-called another problem, like the problems that they were having most recently in Piedras Negras, also with the authorities blocking the migrants from arriving to Eagle Pass and also arriving from Del Rio, Texas. Those kind of problems are going to start to happen again. The animosity between the authorities and the migrants is going to escalate. Sadly, is going to escalate because all of these migrants, they know about the river. I have told you guys before, the majority of the migrant population, they know about the river. They know that the river, it is the door of refugee, is how they call it. As in multiple interviews that I have been with multiple and hundreds of thousands of migrants, it's all of them. They know the door of refugee, that is the door of the river. So ultimately, it is going to be again another problem for the Mexican authorities to see how they are going to address the situation, and ultimately see if they are going to how they're going to contain, if they're going to contain the arrival of more people into the north borders of Mexico, or how they are going to address this situation if the migrants, they're going to leave them alone to go to the river and to cross freely into the United States to ask for asylum. That, as immigration laws in the United States say, the way to ask for asylum in your process is in the United States of America. That's how your laws say. So the stay in Mexico policy, another thing that is really important is coming up, that apparently Joseph Biden is going to displace the stay in Mexico policy and is going to retire the stay in Mexico policy. So by that it is going to be a more of an influx coming into the south border of Mexico, and ultimately not only that, but also moving up little by little into the north borders that connect with the United States of America. This is the multiple caravan that I am showing you right now, 4,000 people caravan. I will put the other interview right now in the live feed, which is really important to hear basically what the migrants think of the risk that they're taking, and also what they think about how they are going to arrive into the north borders. I believe that is the most important thing, and these are a couple of interviews that we got right here. Ultimately, that we are going to show right here. This first video, it is a first clip of around 8-10 seconds. This first clip, around 8 to 10 seconds, is how the immigration center in Tapachula looks. They are overwhelmed, and the thing is, they're lying. The Mexican government is lying, because they're saying we have 100 windows open and we are attending every migrant of 100 windows. So it is, if you had 100 windows, you would not have people walking. You would not have caravans. You will have a process. You would have a process if you will start giving them the humanitarian visas, or ultimately the multiple migration form at every door window that you supposedly have in your office. But the Mexican authorities, they're not doing that. They open only 8 to 9 windows, and they're attending them by 150 to 100 per day, which means that every process is going to be extended to 2 to 3 months. They say that they have 100 windows open to do a legal process, or to do to give them the multiple migration form, but they also are overwhelmed. They say they don't have personnel, that they are trying to do their best. And you have this contingency of migrants arriving, a never-ending arrival from the south border of Tapachula, crossing through a river from Guatemala to Tapachula, and ultimately landing in Tapachula. This is, and I will translate what the migrant is saying. In terms to the risk that they're taking, it is a 2-minute and 25-second video. I will pause and I will translate. This is how the immigration center looks right now.
Cansados, agotados.
This is a migrant from Venezuela, and we will translate the interview as he is speaking about the risk that they are taking right now. And this is a really important thing. Why? Because we just had a recent tragedy that had just occurred that just occur 53 migrants that they suffocated in the back of a tractor trailer in Texas. This tragedy that, more than 27 Mexicans died in the back of the tractor trailer. So let's see what this migrant says about the risk that they're taking and how he feels of him walking continuously. I have walked with them so many times, and I will tell you, people, it completely changes your perception of how they, man, my God, it's just unbelievable what they go through. But ultimately, this is the only process that they think it is on the only possibility for them to be heard. So I have walked with them hundreds of kilometers, and it is just overwhelming to see this kind of situation. So let me just translate this interview. Thank you so much, hermana Deba. Thank you so much, a missionary. Oh my God, missionary, hermana Deba. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for the coffees. Thank you so much. This is an interview right now of the migrant, which he is going to explain how he feels of this current situation, and I will translate. And please, for everybody that is in the live feed, please be respectful and do not use derogatory comments. Like the video, share the video, like the video on Facebook, share the video on YouTube, hit that like button on Facebook, hit that bell button on YouTube. God bless you all. Let's do this interview.
Pero con la finalidad de avanzar, ya que el Estado de México no nos ha permitido avanzar de manera.
We are tired, and we are right here. You know, we are in Mexico, and with the the objective to move out of Mexico, and Mexico hasn't helped us.
Era de pasajeros ni nada de eso.
We are walking. We are not even using buses. We're walking.
Cansancio.
What are the things that you feel right now, and what do you think that what are the feeling of the people that you have seen? What do you have seen? How they feel? And he starts saying, "We feel really tired."
Hay gente que carga niños, adultos.
There's a lot of people that they're carrying children. There's a lot of people that they're carrying adults.
Se cansan, se deshidratan.
They get tired. They dehydrated.
Mucho calor.
There's a lot of heat and
muchos riesgos.
There's a lot of children.
De que algunas personas agarren camiones.
What is your opinion? This is Juan Manuel Blanco, our colleague and journalist for us, or Oscar Blue, and also and he's a great journalist, and he asked this really particular question, a really important one. Says, what do you think about people getting into buses and using buses to get to the north border? Look at that question, and that is a really important question. And look what he says right here. Look what he says. What do you think about people using buses or being on the back of a tractor trailer? This is what he says. And that is a danger, to be in the back of a tractor trailer in a bus. That is a danger. What do you think about migrants using that as an option?
Claro. Vea ya la consecuencia que pasó con los otros compañeros migrantes.
Look at the consequences. Yes, look at the consequences that it has happened with the other, colleague migrants.
Por coger rutas que no son favorables ni aconsejables.
Just because they choose to use a route that is not a good route. And even it's not a safe route. Look what happened to them.
Traen consecuencias que, bueno, ya vieron la experiencia con los demás migrantes.
And they have consequences when you use when you don't use a safe route, and what happened to the migrants. So that is what happens when you don't use a safe route.
Perder la vida.
And they can lose their lives. You lose your life when you don't do things right. What is your recommendation? Because you're also walking on a really dangerous road. So what is your recommendation? There's a lot of tractor trailers passing by, and when there's children walking, what is your recommendation to people that you're also walking right now?
Que se mantengan en grupos organizados, que sean organizados.
We maintain in groups. That's what I'm saying. And that we keep organized. That's what we need.
Porque recuerde que estamos en un país que no es de nosotros.
Just to remember that we are in a country that is not ours. So we need to stay organized, and we need to stay in groups.
Y observar siempre buen comportamiento.
And to preserve always a good behavior when we're walking.
El aseo no podemos estar tirando.
And we have to be clean. We can't be throwing trash all over the place. Because we are in a country that is not our country.
Continuar.
So we can continue and let people continue. Look at this observation. This is a what else? A migrant is telling you that using a tractor trailer and using a bus, it is not correct. It is not a safe pathway. Even a migrant that is walking on a caravan, it is saying using a bus and using a tractor trailer, it is not a safe pathway, and you can lose your life. And look what happened to our colleagues. And then he says, what do you recommend? You're also walking. And he said, well, to stay in groups, to not throw trash. We are in a country that is not ours. So we need to respect these laws, and we just want to get to our place. But ultimately, we need to respect this country because it's not ours. We need to not throw trash, and we need to keep a good behavior. This is the first interview this migrant from Venezuela talking about the risk that they take, knowing the fact of what the 53 migrants that they sadly and a tragedy lost their lives a few days ago.
Daniel Bravo, Venezuela.
What are the risks that you, and these are other migrants that they're walking, and then Juan asks a question, what are the risks that you are, you know, in engaging when you are walking? What are the risks that the migrants are risking, you know, as the tragedy that happened right now? And the migrant says right here,
Que nos maten, que nos metan presos.
we are risking to get killed. We are risking to go to prison.
Todos los riesgos.
We are going through every risk possible. Are you guys afraid if you are traveling in a bus at the back of a tractor trailer? Are you guys afraid to do that?
Claro, le pedimos ayuda a la ONU, a la Cruz Roja, que nos ayude a cruzar hasta allá.
We are asking the United Nations, we are asking the Red Cross to help us to get all the way to the north borders. That's what we are asking.
A la ONG, a todo.
To all NGOs, we are asking them, please help us.
Pedimos que el gobierno del presidente de México nos dé el pase para ir a nuestro destino.
We're just asking the president of Mexico to just let us pass so we can get to our destiny.
No ponga trabas porque acá sufren
Just don't put traps on our ways because, you know, when we are walking, we suffer a lot of consequences.
los niños.
The kids, they suffer a lot.
Sufrimiento, sufre yendo solamente por no darle el permiso.
Just because they don't give the permit, a lot of the children, they suffer, and a lot of us also suffer.
A las personas, los niños, todos sufren.
The kids, all of them, they suffer.
No queremos trabas.
We don't want no traps. Please, don't cheat on us. We just want to get to our destiny.
No queremos trabas, queremos nada más, en este país estamos de pasada, nada más.
We're just going by. We're just passing by Mexico. We don't want to stay here. We want to go. We're just going to go to the north borders.
Queremos quedar acá.
We don't want to stay over here.
José Luis.
My name is José Luis. How important are these interviews? And how important are these interviews? Because I will show you why it is important, these interviews. And the most important thing about these interviews is that ultimately we just had a tragedy in San Antonio. We just had a tragedy. It just happened. A tragedy just happened in San Antonio where more than 53 migrants lost their lives in San Antonio. And it is sad to see that. Everybody knows the consequences migrating incorrectly in the back of a tractor trailer. Everybody knows that, and that is not the way to migrate. It risks your lives, and you risk for the coyote to leave you in the back of, off the tractor trailer to suffocate to death. And this is the interviews with the migrant that ultimately right now he just said, you know what, we don't need to go in the back of a tractor trailer. We don't need that. It is a lot of risk that we're taking. That's the last thing that we can. That's the last thing that we need to do. Look what happens if you use a trailer. If you go in the back of a trailer, look what happens. Look what happens. And also, when you have migrants that they're using that route, great observation by my manager. And also when you have migrants that they're using that route, that they're not doing things correctly, you're incentivizing the organized crime to continue to operate, which is the cartel. So the smuggling business continues to profit out of the humanitarian, necessity. So instead of being a migration, if it is a migration, whatever you want to call it, instead of being that, you have entities that are taking advantage and profiting out of this. That one of them is the organized crime, is the cartel that are making billions out of this because they know that they can get all the way into the United States of America. And now you have the organized crime and the cartel that they're not only operating on the Mexican side, they're already operating on the other side of the spectrum and the other side of the border in the United States. The organized crime and the smuggling tactics, they're already operating inside of the United States. A lot of people do not understand this. This is what open borders will do. You will have a complete disorganization. It is not only get the migrants out of the equation. It is just the organized crime itself. You get the organized crime and the cartel, the possibilities and the abilities to just operate on different borders. So you have now that every northern border, it is controlled by the organized crime and the profiting of multi-billion-dollar business. It's not only trafficking of drugs, but trafficking of everything. So you have on the north borders that connect to the United States of America, on Mexico's side, you have the organized crime that is continuously, controlling our government, controlling our politicians, controlling, the system. And now in the part of the United States, you have now it looks like they're controlling the part of the United States because it looks like that. A lot of the organized crime and a lot of the cartel are operating freely in the United States and making a huge profit out of this. It is happening on the borders of, and meanwhile, people are losing their lives, migrating in the back of a tractor trailer, leaving them alone in a desert in Arizona. That hundreds have died in the desert of Arizona. Also, that's a lot of them have died and have lost their lives crossing through the river of the Rio Grande, and also, through Eagle Pass in Del Rio, Texas. So you have the incentivization leads to other, it's migration has become a thing that is, you can migrate, but the cost of migration is your life. And that is a sad thing to see right now. Lori, thank you so much for the coffees. Buy me a coffees on the bottom link if you guys like to contribute. Thank you so much. That is the thing that is so sad right now. That because of immigration, the cost of migrating, it is nowadays, it possibly you can pay with your life. And it is not a possibility. It is happening right now. And you have Kamala Harris blaming the past administration for what just happened in Texas. And you have the press secretary of the White House, Ms. Jean-Pierre, saying that the border is closed. How many years are going to pass by that you're going to blame the past governments? It is not only because it was Trump. Leave that name alone. You're just blaming the past administration. So if you get, for God's sake, for God forbid, Joe Biden gets reelected again. Let's say, for God's sake, God forbid, he gets reelected again. So if he gets reelected again, and on your 5th year of your presidency, what you're going to say, it is because of the 4 years that the past president. And then on the 6th year, you're going to say, oh, it is because of the 4 years of the past president. And then on the 7th year, it's going to say, oh, it's because of the policies of the past. So you're going to hold that accountable for the rest of your life. Every mistake that you make, and the disastrous administration right now of the Biden administration, it is a complete disaster. It is inhuman. They do not care about migrants. They do not care about no humanitarian life. Really, that's what they are. If they do care, they did a process correctly, they will practically put a pathway that it will be, this is the way, this is who qualifies, this is who don't, this is who you enter, this is where you enter. Do not risk your life over here. You know what? Us, as we are accepting migrants right now, let's go to the Darien Gap and let's see if we can fix the violence, and let's see if we can fix the corruption, and let's see if we can fix the violations and the rape and everything that is going on over there. Let's see if we can do something about it. But now, you go and you, quote unquote, you blame the past administration, and now you have the Stay in Mexico policy that is going to be revoked, removed, displaced, which is going to open up a lot for the migrants to go in and for their cases to be heard inside of the United States of America. which the law says, and I am quoting what the law says, as a lot of you guys are for law and order. The majority of you guys are for law and order. I'm just reading what the immigration law says. It says that every case of asylum and refugee needs to be heard in the country that they are asking to be heard for asylum and refugee. So that means that every single case, the law says that it needs to be, ultimately heard in the United States of America. So if the stay in Mexico policy gets removed, let's see how if their borders are going to be controlled, if the mass migration is going to be controlled, or are they going to be overwhelmed. And now you're giving the responsibility of a vulnerable case, possibly a legitimate case of asylum, to a border agent. That is the new strategy. The border agent or the border patrol, it is going to be the one that possibly assimilates and says, you know what, you are a legitimate case of asylum. Welcome. You're not. And the people how you're going to put that responsibility on a government dependency that has been so overwhelmed for the past 5 to 6 years. On top of them, trying to secure or trying to do their job or process, you are now putting the responsibility of them practically addressing the asylum and refugee situation. So you're putting every people's lives, you're putting them in the Border Patrol's hands. Holy cow, this administration, it is disastrous. I don't have nothing else to say. It is disastrous. And I don't have no other comment. This administration is a complete disaster, really. Complete disaster. And if you I have talked to a few Democrats on the other side of the United States of America. I talked to a lot of the people that they are in leftist media. I talk to them when I'm in the caravans, and I say, this is a complete disaster. You know that, right? And they say, yes, he lost control of the border. He lost control of the policies. He lost control of everything. He has lost control. And because he lost control, he doesn't know what to do. Sometimes he's in a good mood and he says, I'm going to help. Sometimes he's in a bad mood. He says this. Sometimes he needs this. Sometimes he doesn't even know what his target is. He doesn't even know what he's going to do with the mass migration. Thank you so much for joining in. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News correspondent for Real America's Boys News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining in. The news, breaking news, more than 4,000 people have left today as a caravan, leaving again to the north borders into the part of an immigration center called Wixla Cerro Gordo, it is called. They're going to await and see if they can be giving the multiple migration form. That is a document for them to practically walk freely into the country of Mexico. And ultimately, their purpose is to go to the United States of America to see if they can go to the United States of America. They're not on purpose. The quantity, it is around 4,000. And and ultimately, not only that, in addition to that, you have an open border in Mexico where, where basically it is a non-ending fact. More people are going to come, and this is going to continue and is going to continue. The reason why it is that because we have an open border in Mexico, and ultimately every country wants to people have a safe pathway to migrate. Nobody has ever looked at that matter if these countries are agreeing with migrants walking, because you have Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, all of these countries, Chile. We have never asked ourselves this question, which it is, are these countries, okay with the fact that migrants walk and they risk their lives? A lot of these countries, possibly they say, I don't have no problem with them walking and going with whatever they want to go. If they want to risk their lives, it is on their own terms. But, it is what it is. and this is the current situation. The question is, why has no one changed immigration laws? And why the U.S. is just allowing them to walk in? If that stopped, people will not search the borders. Why parents are not prosecuted for trafficking their children by paying a coyote? No one cares. Not the left, not the right. That is absolutely correct. That is a comment from my manager, and I am, as you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen, but I'm listening all the time to my managers. He's putting comments, and we're having kind of like a conversation because my manager is a really articulated individual, intelligent and studied individual. So that is a really good comment. We'll read again the comment, and it says, and there's three things about this comment. The question is why no one has changed immigration laws, and why no one has changed immigration laws, because it is a humongous business. In the United States of America, if you ask yourself how many undocumented people are in the United States of America, it's more than 30 million people, I think. That the last number that it was giving, more than 30 million. And you have the ghost tax. What is the ghost tax? A lot of people are saying they don't pay taxes, Oscar Blue. The undocumented, they don't pay taxes. Yes, they do. They go to the store, they buy food, pay tax. They go to the gasoline, pay tax. They go to every place, they pay tax. Who is profiting out of that ghost tax? Who is profiting out of those multi-billion dollars? And it is the politicians, the own government of the United States of America, who is not using that money to basically legitimately correct the situation or to invest it on their own people and on their own country. And that is the money that they're making out of the cheap man labor in the United States of America. These are monopolies and corporations that are making a lot of money out of undocumented individuals, and ultimately they're not fixing it. So why they're not fixing it? It is a humongous business. It is a lot of money that is behind it, and a lot of people, why don't you deport millions? It is not, they're not going to deport because they depend on the cheap man labor that is cheap man labor, and ultimately it is a lot of that is the ghost tax that is really well known in the United States of America, that a lot of you guys say like, oh, you know what, this is particularly who we are the ones that were paying taxes. They're not paying taxes. They are actually, when they buy a product, they are paying taxes, but ultimately that ghost tax, where is it going? The other comment is, why is the U.S. just allowing them to walk in? If that stop, people will not search the borders. Well, there is a process, as we were having that kind of conversation. There is a process to do that. But if you have seen, all the governments have failed to address this process. And we're going on the Obama administration and now the Biden administration. They have failed horribly to address the process. And the process is, this is how you do it. This is how you address the situation. You go on a public forum and then you say, this is how you migrate. And if you're not migrating this way, and let us help these third world class countries. This is where it goes. And I have gone this route before. And I have gone this route before. And it is completely, I'm going again to this route before. And it is the corporations, the monopolies that they're making multi-billion dollars on third world class countries. Corporate America, you got corporate Canada, you got corporate all first class world countries that they're using the continent of America to make 300% with their companies on a foreign land, on a third world class country. Instead of helping the country, you bring slave capitalism for these people, and these people only making just an amount of salary, an amount of a weekly pay or a monthly pay. They're not increasing their lives, their infrastructure. It just allows them to pay this kind of housing, allows them to get this kind of schooling, allows them to pay this kind of health services, allows them to have this kind of life. So these corporations, instead, the product, it is exactly the same product that is sold in the United States. It is sold in Canada. It is sold in Spain. It is sold in profitable countries in Europe. It is also sold in the continent and third world class countries at exactly the same price, but the cheap man labor and the people, they're the ones that they're getting paid 170 pesos per day. That is $6-7 per day. That is where it starts. If that was composed and that was fixed, you will have a country like Nayib Bukele, the president of Ecuador, who is trying to fix this country economically, bringing back cacao, bringing back coffee, bringing back security, bringing back external relations with exporting and importing his own product by his own land, you will have a country that is trying to profit, is trying to make himself, a better country and try to be a first-class world country by having international relations. Meanwhile, and you are being the main distributor. You're not the third guy. This is the problem. These third world class countries, they got you always third guy. You got the main investor on fruits, you got the main distributor on avocado, and he has to go through a third guy first, to a second guy, to get to the first guy. That is the main problem. You have an economical problem, and these economical monopolies and industries are taking advantage of third world class countries and the cheap man labor. And you cannot provide a better life to, if you're going to a foreign land and investing on a foreign land, ultimately you're going to profit also, but you're going to give a better life to the people that you're profiting for or profiting of. Add to the factor that all these third world class countries are corrupt as hell, and all the money that the United States has sent into the wrong hands of all these corrupt countries. It is not the fault completely of politicians, but it's the United States, but it's the fault of the people that they're receiving this money. You have these multi-million dollars that they are being sent to third world class countries into the wrong hands consistently. So if you have this continuous effect, it is always going to happen. It is always going to happen. In the meantime, you're getting the American citizen being taxed by sending millions. Why don't you tax these corporations? Why don't you tell these corporations you're making 3,000% out of what are you making in third world class countries, and you're not investing, and you're not providing better infrastructure, and you're not basically paying more tax. It shouldn't be the U.S. citizen. It should be these corporations. And ultimately, because of that infrastructure, you got insecurity that lands on, basically lands on cartel activity, homicides, rape, killings of women, child trafficking, human trafficking, women trafficking, all the trafficking and it resolves on all these things. You see a country growing. That's your second comment. And also, why our parents are not being prosecuted for trafficking their children by paying a coyote. That is another thing that a lot of the and leftists are going to say, well, she left her kid to be crossed, and no. That is your son. That is your responsibility. That is your responsibility. That is your blood. That is your son. That is your son. That is your blood. You shouldn't allow your son to be traveling with a coyote or with a trafficker. You should not allow your blood, your son, your daughter to be allowed. It doesn't even matter the circumstance. It does not matter the circumstance. There's always a way to do that. And you should not allow. And who is holding them accountable? Because later on, when you have a parent that trafficked his daughter or his son to the United States of America with a coyote, and then the parent says, hey, I want to claim responsibility for the daughter or for the son. I want to claim the responsibility for my son when they are getting deported. How are you legitimately capable of holding the security of your son, of your daughter, if you paid a coyote to traffic them into another country, and then when they get deported back, you're like, hey, I want you back now? How in the hell is that possible? There should be these laws, man. Marsha Blackburn, a congresswoman from, I think it's Tennessee, or I don't remember if it is Tennessee, and a lot of other people, they're putting this law that is End Child Trafficking Act now, and nobody is talking about that. That is a law that it needs to be implemented in the borders. Reason why there's a lot of fake matrimonies, fake marriages, and fake this and fake that they're taking advantage of children. And I have seen that. I have seen with children walking alone, unaccompanied minors, these leftist tabloids and all these leftist, radical leftist information outlets that they have challenged. I have gone there, walked with them, and ultimately asked them why you're walking, why you're alone. It is a reality This is the administration that has had more unaccompanied minors in history in their hands. And they were preaching that they were in the debate. They were preaching. Joe Biden was preaching that, the children were coming, with their parents, and there were no traffickers, and there were no coyotes, and that was non-existent. And just what recently happened. Just what recently happened. Thank you so much for joining in. For God's sake. Everybody, and I always end with this, everybody deserves a right to migrate. Everybody has a right to migrate. We were born migrants. I'm a migrant myself. We are migrants, all of us. But we should know how to do this. And going in the back of a tractor trailer, it is not the correct way. There's laws, and we need to understand that these laws are made for a particular reason. And there's a process to do so. Even the globalist compact of immigration from the United Nations signalizes how you should migrate. How you should migrate. Even the globalist compact of immigration, which I don't agree nothing with because they put people in risk in life. The globalist compact of immigration says you need to migrate documented, peacefully, and peacefully, documented, and with a purpose. And sometimes you get migrants that they're losing their lives because that is their last. And sadly, 53 of them died, suffocating on the back of a tractor trailer. They took a bad decision. And I have said this before. I made a post about this. Migrating is now signalized more. It is more criminalized now than their own trafficker. I'm being honest. A migrant is being signalized, and it is being criminalized more than the own trafficker. You got these traffickers and these smugglers operating on a daily basis at open daylight, and they're continually operating. I'm just saying what it is. Instead of addressing the problem and instead of fixing the problem, you criminalize the situation. You do not fix it. And it's not only the Democrats, it's also the Republicans. It's not only the left, it's also the right. I'm just saying what it is. So instead of fixing the problem, you don't address. And then let me just tell you something else. It looks like immigration now, you pay it with your life. And let me tell you something. For people to not get into their feelings, there's a mass migration of U.S. citizens coming into Mexico. Tucker Carlson talked about it the other day. From California to Tijuana, to a place that I live in, to Rosarito, to Ensenada, a lot of U.S. citizens are migrating, undocumented, coming in to live over here, into our side of town in Mexico, because the cost of living in California, it is exacerbated, impossible to live anymore. Immigration laws need to be fixed. Need to be fixed. Immigration laws need to be respected and fixed. And also, do you guys remember? They forgot about this word before I go. 58 minutes going in. How's everybody doing? Do you remember this word? And I will tell to all the audience. Do you remember this word? And whoever is saying karma, for God's sake, karma, I got you now, and now we're going to take you over, and it is our turn. Do you guys remember this word? It is not a crisis. It is a challenge. Do you guys remember that word? They were saying, "Oh, it's a challenge because it's a challenge to cross. It is so difficult because of the laws." And you don't address a problem the way it is. That it is the initiation of the problem. That is the initiation of the problem. Do you guys remember that word? It is not a crisis. It is a challenge. How Jen Psaki used to stand in front of the podium and say that every time. It's not a crisis. It is a challenge. It is a challenge for us. Kamala Harris, it is a challenge. Joe Biden, it is a challenge. What happened to that word? Are they still saying it? No, huh? No, they're not. Because they know that it got out of their hands. It has gone out of their hands. You have to acknowledge a problem before you can fix it. Exactly. Thank you so much, Ms. Jerry Lee. Plain and simple. And when you don't acknowledge a problem and you don't say that is a crisis, we have a humanitarian crisis. No, it's not a crisis. It is a challenge. It's a challenge and we'll fix it. Nice way of fixing it. Nice way. Thank you so much for joining in. Let me take out this video from here and I will give my last thoughts on what is happening right now. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News correspondent. Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We have been posting today another caravan that has come in of 4,000 coming into the north borders of, well, there are in the south border right now walking. And it is, basically, it's and I forgot something before I go. The number that they are saying that it is right now in Tapachula, in the south borders, in the 5 states, they're saying that it's around 45 to 50,000 in the 5 states. In Tapachula, they were saying that there's around 25,000. 25,000. The Mexican president, I don't believe him squat. I don't like the Mexican president. For me, he's an incompetent president, and he has put our country in the wrong hands of the organized crime and the cartel. But there's a lot of people that they like their approval. They like his approval. Well, the Mexican president has come out and said, "I'm trying to have a dialogue with the Biden administration, but they do not want to have a dialogue. So I'm going to try to do my best of what I have." Also, Alejandro Yamatei has been having a dialogue. The president of Guatemala, Alejandro Yamatei, has been conversating with Mexican President AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and they have been saying we need to go to the last consequences to find who was behind this catastrophe on the tractor trailer that 53 people died, and also we need to find a solution for this because I don't have. Guatemala doesn't have the resources. Mexico apparently has the resources just to process them, but not to house them. And a lot of them, quick observation, a lot of them, they have stayed in Mexico. A lot of them, they have stayed in Mexico. They made their lives. And I will tell you a quick observation with this, and I'm not going to lie about this. The first caravan that arrived to Mexico wasn't back in 2015. And I remember that I was working at a radio station and I talked about it because I went there and watched the whole thing, how they were operating. It was more than 15,000 people from Haiti. And all those 15,000 people from Haiti, a huge, but vast majority of them, between 70 to 75,000 of them, stayed in the state of Baja California. And all of them, every single one of them has completely, made their lives in Mexico. A lot of them, they have gotten married. A lot of them, they went to college. A lot of them, they, They have made their lives over here. A lot of them, they have made a good life over here. The population of Haiti has been really profitable for the borders. I must say that. They have made businesses. They have brought economy with their, with what they have. Ultimately, it has landed to other entities that they have come, but when it comes to a lot of the Central American countries, they don't like to stay over here. The purpose is to go to the United States. And now the Venezuela country, the majority of them, 80 to 90% of them, and I dare to say more, they don't want to stay over here. They want to go into the United States of America. So whoever has stayed over here has made a good living out of their lives. They like Mexico. A lot of them, you ask them, I wish that I could stay in parts like the city of Mexico, Guadalajara, Monterrey, really, prominent and profitable cities. Also Tijuana, it's the border, it's the most visited border in the world. So a lot of them, they want to come to different borders to, there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of economy. Thank you so much for joining in. An hour and 5 minutes going in. I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, as I have said so, and correspondent for Real America's Boys News. Thank you so much. I will be leaving today. If there's another update, I will be coming in and giving you guys an update. For now, this is what has happened. 4,000 people have left, also walking again. All the way to the north borders. They want to walk all the way to the north borders, and they're not going to walk all the way to the north borders, but they are going to try to get, to the north borders of the United States of America. God bless you all. Follow my partner, Real Anthony Agüero. Follow him at all platforms. Also follow Ben Bergquam from Frontline America, Real America's Boys News correspondent. Also. And also, you can follow Real America's Boys News. Download the app; it is free. And also, Wendy Bell Radio Network. Download the app; it is free. You can download at the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Go to the App Store and you can download it. Before you go, please give it a like. Give it a like to this video on Facebook. Give it a like to this video on YouTube. Hit that like button. Also, we are live at Getter. So thank you so every single one of you that is in Getter. So we are live at Getter. We are live at Twitter also. So hit that like button on Twitter, hit the like button on Getter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Stay safe. And like we always say, people, peace and love, because always your country's first. God bless.
We're in the middle of everything. They're carrying a child. Look at this. They're carrying a child. Look at this. This is horrible.
Ustedes tienen familia, somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes. Somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes.
Discúlpeme, oficial. They have encapsulated them. They're pushing. Now they're pushing. Some of them, they're escaping underneath to the ranches. Look at this, man. They're throwing rocks. They're hitting the National Guard officers. Throwing rocks over here.
Gosh, what a scene to see really unfolding here, and having them use that rope so that they're all able to stay together is really interesting to see all this happen, Oscar.
for violence and homicides. Due to this factor, the military will be flew to Tijuana. And free of San Isidro next door to the city of Tijuana, Mexico. Migrants looking for asylum from Ukraine arrived to the
Roto, señores, las barreras. Ya no los pueden controlar. They have broke the barriers. They cannot control them.